Ah, DSW, birthplace of the humble brag. Here, the shoes are so good, no one would ever know how little you paid. If you didn't go telling everyone, that is. And with never-ending options for every style, mood, and occasion, all at really great prices. We'll definitely give you something to brag about. So go ahead, stock up on fresh sneakers from your favorite brands. Or try those boots you always secretly knew you could pull off. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.
It's time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
On a Friday, great to have you with us all across America and Canada for the next 60 minutes. We will keep you entertained, dazzled, delighted. Robert Littal, Black Sports Online founder, joins us every Friday. He'll be here in 20. The games we're looking forward to in the NFL this weekend, that's coming up in about 10 minutes. Some notes from around Major League Baseball, a whole bunch more. Sam Yarnell is here. Well, you said it was going to be a spit show last night. Hope you tailed Sam on the under, right? You did say the under yesterday, didn't you?
I mean, that was the most free under of all time.
Oy vey, man. I mean, man, Geno Smith should file a lawsuit against the Las Vegas Raiders organization for malpractice, for elder abuse. I mean, anything you want to possibly throw out there. He should go and get one of the 7,000 attorneys that advertise here in Las Vegas, because every other ad is an ad for an attorney. Lerner and Rowe is the way to go. Oh, my God. Anyway, we should have a GoFundMe for Geno Smith. I feel so bad for him last night. He had no chance against that Broncos defense. And while it is an elite defense, it is a championship defense, even without Patrick Surtain right now. This is an elite defense. It is not an elite offense. And here's the bottom line. And we'll get to Sean Payton in a second, because he had plenty to say postgame after a 10-7 win for the Denver Broncos at home. A game they could have very easily lost. But they didn't. Win ugly. We talked about it with Nick Ferguson on the show. They're 8-2. You are what your record says you are. No, you're not. Because anybody who would put good American money on this Denver Broncos team right now to win anything in the postseason, beyond maybe a game with their defense, is out of their minds, Sam Yarnell, because it isn't going to happen. They have a quarterback who's making bad decisions. He's regressing right now. He's going backwards. At a time of the year where you want to be getting better, it feels to me like he's going backwards. And you know why he is? It's because he knows he's got a defense on the back end that's going to cover his you-know-what for every mistake he makes. And eventually, they're going to run into a situation where they can't cover his you-know-what.
So I'm not as interested in the Broncos for the purpose of postseason performance as much as I am for them making it and keeping somebody out, because that's what they're on track to do right now. Yeah. I'm sorry to say it, but it's the fact of the matter. Winning that game last night, in the Broncos' eyes, was the worst thing that could have happened for the Kansas City Chiefs. And when they saw that game being close and the Broncos potentially getting caught in that look-ahead spot to the game against the Chiefs, their next game, I believe, after a bye. No, not after a bye. It's their next game next week. A mini bye. That's what it is. But regardless, the Chiefs have to be starting to get nervous with regard to their positioning and where they sit in the playoffs. And they needed the Raiders to pull that one out last night. Here's what I'll say on your subject of Geno Smith and the elderly abuse. I agree with you, man. And I'll take it a step further. There's elder abuse, but not in the way you typically think of. Geno Smith is being abused by his elder, Pete Carroll. I mean, somebody's got to get this guy out of coaching. He made it very clear last night that he just cannot make a decision to win his team a football game, or let alone personnel, roster, all the horrible decisions he made coming into the year. There's nothing good left about Pete Carroll. Just let him enjoy his retirement and chew his gum off in Cancun or somewhere or something at this point. You got to stop with the whole Pete Carroll experience. It's killing Ashton Genty's career.
It just goes to show you, and Brock Bowers. I mean, it just goes to show you that there were a lot of teams out there that could have used a head coach, and none of them went to Pete Carroll. The only one that did was the Raiders, which just goes to show you kind of what the rest of the league may have already known that the Raiders are finding out now. And I love Pete Carroll. A great coach, did amazing things in Seattle, winning that franchise a Super Bowl, but the time has come. Sean Payton post-game, despite a win, a little ornery.
Sean, again, as you've said, your record says who you are.
Exactly right.
But,
no, but. Are you going to say but?
What,
no. What's your question?
Are you comfortable with the script of just kind of how these games continue to be won?
We're never comfortable as coaches, but there's no buts. So you're asking, am I comfortable as a coach? We're never satisfied. If my answer were to you, I'm comfortable, that'd be silly, right? So obviously we gotta clean up the penalties. We gotta clean up some of the execution, and that is an ongoing thing that probably never ends. There's you search for that Shangri-La. Right now, we're a team sitting at 8 wins. I think we're the only team sitting there. So. And yet we're constantly looking internally and starting, but it was a tough night offensively, obviously, and
that is putting it mildly, Sam. Tough night offensively.
Yeah, I was told earlier this week by somebody in the media space that Sean Payton should be considered as like a top 5 or 7 coach in the NFL right now. That's just blatantly not true. Sean Payton he is past his prime. I'll say it nicely in terms of his coaching days. This is a guy who is not at a point in his career where he can be saying things like this or treating reporters the way he did during that answer. And yeah, man, I don't know. It seems like it's getting to that point, as we see in a lot of these, coaches in their later years, careers. He's getting a little fed up with everything. It's seeming like, generally towards the end of the road for Sean Payton.
By the way, on Polymarket, if you want to look at the odds on the Denver Broncos to win the Super Bowl, they are at 4% right now if you want to buy stock in the Broncos over there. You can get them, for an 8-2 team to be as cheap as they are. By comparison, Kansas City is at 14%, Buffalo 13%, Philadelphia 11%, Detroit 9%, the Rams 8%, Green Bay 7%, Indianapolis 7%, Seattle 6%, Baltimore 6%, then Denver. So if you're looking for value, there's your value, I guess.
That's about where I'd put them. Did you
Tampa
watch
Bay.
The game last night?
I did. Tampa Bay, by the way.
This is a team that as soon as they get to crunch time, they're going to fold. It's just inevitable.
Tampa Bay, by the way, you can get it 3% right now. That's a team a lot of people think could still have Super Bowl aspirations, could still certainly come out of the NFC. Poor Geno, though. Hold on. He just got sacked again. I know, I've used that one before. It's okay. It's called a recall in comedy. We're coming back. We're going to talk more football. The games we love this week. Welcome back to the shoe. We've got Robert Littal, Black Sports Online founder, coming up in 10 minutes. Talk about some of the top stories of the week and some, I will warn you in advance, some heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. One of the segments I want to focus on, and we haven't talked about it yet, is this Marcus Kneeland story. Just awful. Guy scored a touchdown on Monday, his first NFL touchdown, and he's dead on Thursday. It's just takes his own life. It's awful. Talk about that. Antonio Brown finally about to pay the piper, it seems. And a story involving Delonte West. All of that I want to get to with Robert Littal. That's coming up in a few minutes. But Sam Yarnell, with you, I want to discuss the games we are most excited for this weekend in the NFL. And there are some good ones to talk about. It's not the show me weekend it was last weekend, but there are definitely some games of interest, starting with one of the teams we were just talking about in the last segment, a team that you can get at, 3% over on Polymarket right now. Get them real cheap if you want. That being the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You can buy yes on them winning the Super Bowl at 3.1 cents. They are at home to take on the New England Patriots, who have been one of the big surprises. The Patriots sitting there going, hi, we're 7-2. Tampa Bay, who hasn't been healthy all year, going, hi, we're 6-2. And the two of them will meet up this weekend. Sam, that to me is really the marquee matchup of this weekend.
Yeah, it certainly will be a fun one. One of my picks later in the show will definitely come from this game. Certainly, there is an angle that I am looking to take on this game. But I'm excited for Rams-Niners out west. And I mean, this is the first and maybe only real test the Niners will have the rest of the season. This is one, Jason, where, not only do you have this beat-up Niners team that's just become a ragtag bunch of whoever they signed off of their couches and George Kittle, Mac Jones is playing like the game manager that Kyle Shanahan needs, like I've been talking about all season long, making that seat heat up just a little bit more for Brock Purdy with every win that he accrues. And hey, these are two teams with the same record right now. Doesn't matter how they got there, just matters that they got there. And I don't know, San Francisco at home, I'm not saying that they're going to win it outright, but it's going to be a tough one for the Rams.
The rest of the way for the Niners, home at the Cardinals, home for the Panthers, who have been one of the surprises of the football season, then at the Browns, home for the Titans, but then they finish with the Colts, Bears, and Seahawks. It is not that easy a schedule for the Niners. It's not like this team is ticketed for 12 wins or something like that. They're gonna have to earn it coming down the stretch. I do still think they are a playoff team, but I am interested to see what they do at the quarterback position as we continue to sort of navigate these waters right now. With Brock Purdy being out and Mac Jones just sort of doing his thing. I'll throw another one out at you: Baltimore and Minnesota. And we haven't talked about it this week, Sam, but, and I expected maybe you to fall on your sword a little bit. J.J. McCarthy played pretty damn well in that game against the Lions last week. Going on the road and that Vikings team being able to do what it did a week ago. You're making faces, but they went into Detroit and beat a team that some people think could contend for a Super Bowl, Sam.
Yeah, but J.J. McCarthy still is not, and it's an interesting sort of idea that a lot of people have had this week. And they've somehow forgot that J.J. McCarthy has thrown as many interceptions as he has touchdowns, and he's taken half as many sacks as he's made completions. Like, I get that there's like a little bit of raw talent and game manager there. 100% won't deny that. But they're not getting good quarterback play in Minnesota. I don't think that's on the table.
It was his third NFL start for the guy, and he goes into Detroit and gets a win. I think he's only going to grow in confidence. I'm telling you, I'm still buying on J.J. McCarthy right now. 3 total touchdowns in that game, 14 of 25 for 143. They didn't ask him to do too much. And here's the big thing about that win: they ran the football well. 142 yards on the ground for the Vikings in that game. And if they run it well, they can at least try and keep some of that pressure off of McCarthy in terms of the pass rush. They still got to him 5 times in that game. And he's going to have to get rid of the football a little bit quicker, but the Vikings it's still there for the Vikings at 4-4 right now. And as much as we talk about the AFC North, Sam, the NFC North is kind of a similar situation where I don't know if everybody's all in on Green Bay. We certainly can't be all in on the Lions at 5-3, showing some of the things they've shown this year. The Vikings still have to be sitting there going halfway through the season, we still got a shot.
I think a lot of people, myself included, would tell you that the Vikings are pretty clearly and obviously the 4th best team in that division right now.
Really? You take the Bears over the Vikings?
100%. They're getting better quarterback play. Their rushing offense is actually about as productive, and their defense is as good. So then it comes down to wide receivers and tight ends. And yeah, I guess I'd probably take the Bears at that point just because of the depth.
Pittsburgh and Chargers, the Steelers and Chargers this weekend, that's a big game. And I'll tell you why. Because you don't know if either of those two teams are going to wind up being division winners or not. And, when you get down to tiebreakers as we get later into the season, these are two teams that could wind up with similar records. This is a big game on Sunday night between the Steelers and Chargers for that reason, Sam.
And this is a Chargers team, Jason, that needs to win this game. If they don't win this game next week with a Kansas City win, LA's lost second place in that division and been knocked out of the playoffs. So this is not a must win, but I'd certainly say a can't lose, I guess, for the Los Angeles Chargers at home on Sunday night against Pittsburgh, who's flying across the country. The Chargers have to win that game on Sunday night. I don't want to say it's curtains on their season if they don't, but it's a very uphill battle if they don't, as opposed to a much flatter one if they win that game.
One last one to throw in. We have been on Mike McDaniel fire watch basically the entire season, it feels like. And look, they didn't do it after the Thursday night game when they had all this extra time and the opportunity to let him go. So it makes you wonder if there's any desire to make a coaching change in season. But at home against Buffalo in the 1 o'clock games on Sunday, if that thing is the disaster that it's shaping up to be, Sam Yarnell, you have to wonder if this is the last weekend for Mike McDaniel quickly.
I don't know. No James Cook probably for the Bills.
It doesn't matter.
I could see the Dolphins covering. Ugh.
What's the number?
9.5.
If it were 10.5, I'd think about it. Robert Littal next. Welcome back to the show. If it's a Friday on SportsWrap, it means this guy is here. The one and only Robert Littal, the founder of Black Sports Online. Hangs out with us every Friday. I'd put him on every day if I could afford him. The guy's fantastic. Great insights.
I'm a call girl. High price.
The money's on the nightstand. So I want to get your thoughts. This first segment's going to be a little heavy. But I chose to discuss this with you because and it's not that it's no disrespect to Sam, who I love, but I really wanted to get your perspective on what we've seen in the last 24 hours involving three guys that a lot of people in sports are familiar with. Obviously, the Marcus Kneeland story is a little different because of the nature of it, with him having taken his own life on Thursday or on Wednesday night. We learned about it on Thursday or Thursday morning, whatever it was. He scores his first career NFL touchdown on Monday, and he's dead on Thursday, Robert. And I'm still having a hard time trying to make sense of how we get to this point, how a guy is playing in the NFL, 24 years old, and did anybody see this coming? Like, what kind of help, what kind of resources were available? I can't imagine this guy just woke up on Wednesday sending notes and texts to his family saying he's threatening to take his own life. Like, how did nobody get through to this guy? It blows my mind as somebody who's dealt with mental illness in my own life. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this, Robert.
Yeah, it's the stark reality, first off, that, the next day is never promised. So definitely live every day to the fullest. Count your blessings, no matter how small, they are. And I think what it really does is shines a light on the fact that, as you just said, you can see somebody and it can look like they're at the top. They're at their happiest. They're at their best. And you have really no idea what they're actually going through. The fact that, someone can be on national television, block a punt for the Dallas Cowboys and score a touchdown, and be in so much mental, physical, whatever it is, anguish 48 hours later to do something like that, it opens your eyes to the fact that you really don't know what people are going through. And I just said, I try not to philosophize and all that stuff too much on social media about things like that. But I just say, something, this is probably a good example. We should be kinder to each other, because we really don't know what all of us are going through. And it doesn't matter how much money we have, how much fame we have, whatever we have going on in our life. Everybody's going through something, and we should be a little bit more understanding about it. So hopefully these type of things don't happen.
Does it potentially bring CTE back into the spotlight as well?
I mean, it's always something when you're thinking about, football. I did read that he had a history of mental, health issues, and sometimes sports and other things can mask what's really going on, behind the scenes. I don't like to jump, to that. It's really hard. And like you said, if you've known people and we both, I think everybody has gone through something where, at least for that brief moment, you wonder, would it be better, without me? It's hard, to get out of your head sometimes, and even to get into somebody else's head.
Yeah. There is always going to be somebody out there that's willing to listen, seek out help. I have had my own issues with mental health. I have seen, I've been in therapy. It works. I swore it off forever. And then, I went, and it was something that helped save my life. Turn to somebody and ask for help. There's no shame, in doing so. One more on the mental health front. Because I thought this guy was actually getting his life together. I guess he wasn't. Delonte West. Talk about another situation where a guy just fell through the cracks, Robert, it seems. Nobody has been able to get through to this guy. Arrested again. He was found, unconscious in this case. He's had issues with alcoholism. And the NBA's tried. There have been various people around the NBA community who have tried to help this guy. And it's amazing he's still alive, because it feels like he has a death wish at this point.
I guess that's the difficult part. It's one thing when you feel like no one's out there to try to help you, and that can be a hopeless feeling that you don't feel like you have anybody. But there's, like you said, there's been multiple people with resources, like Mark Cuban, that has tried to give him opportunities, but there does come a point, and I think, you talk to people, family members, friends, spouses, whatever it may be, where it's like, I've given all that I can give, and they have to want to help themselves. I can't force anybody, when they're a grown man, grown woman, to stay here. I can't lock them up or anything like that. And that's really the sad thing, is that obviously all he has to do is reach out and someone would be there, but he just doesn't. And it just becomes a point of not necessarily not caring anymore. It's like, you just kind of throw up your hands, because what can you do when someone doesn't want to help themselves?
And then there is the last one. And this one is mental health issues of a whole different nature, and that is Antonio Brown. The police came calling even in Dubai, and got to him. The former NFL wide receiver arrested on attempted murder charge. This goes back to an incident in May after a celebrity boxing event in Miami. Brown is 37 years old. He was one of the most talented receivers in the game. And now you're talking about a guy that has evaded authorities and evaded this kind of situation for a while. And it feels like this might be the time where the law finally catches up to him.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been driving and actually seen an accident getting ready to happen. You're far enough behind where it doesn't affect you, but I can see this is happening. I mean, I think with Antonio Brown, we've all been watching and just waiting when the full crash, was going to happen. I mean, it's because at the time he was the best wide receiver in the NFL, bar none to me. And, when he didn't work out with Tom Brady, and Tom Brady loved him some Antonio Brown, you just kind of had a feeling that, the outcome was either going to be something maybe even more serious than this, or what we're at, right now. There is some question of, did he actually do what they said that he did? But once again, it's when you have everything and everything is just on the platter for you, and you just screw it up. I think, at least for me, it's like, let me count my blessings. Because, some people can have the world and still not be enough.
The only guy that ever got through to him was Mike Tomlin. That was the only guy that ever got through to him. We're coming back. More with Robert Littal on the other side.
Ah, DSW, birthplace of the humble brag. Here, the shoes are so good, no one would ever know how little you paid. If you didn't go telling everyone, that is. And with never-ending options for every style, mood, and occasion, all at really great prices, we'll definitely give you something to brag about. So go ahead, stock up on fresh sneakers from your favorite brands. Or try those boots you always secretly knew you could pull off. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.
Welcome back to the show. Joined by our friend Robert Littal, founder of Black Sports Online, hangs out with us every Friday on the show. You have any dogs, Robert?
Oh, yeah, I got 2.
If money weren't an obstacle, would you ever get one cloned?
No, I'm not cloned my dog. Tom Brady's kind of weird. I think Tom Brady's done some cloning to himself. You ever look at Tom Brady's face at Michigan and then look at Tom Brady's face now, even early years of New England, and he's had a lot of nips and tucks. He looks younger in his 40s than he did in his mid-20s.
He's looking more and more like Max Headroom every day.
That jaw is like, how Freddie Freeman has one of those, like, just, classic, high school quarterback jaws. It's like he went into the plastic surgeon office and was like, give me the Freddie Freeman jaw.
I was having this conversation this morning with my partner, and I said, I would love to get our dog, who's literally right next to me on the floor right now, Dookie. I would love to get him cloned. I would love to get him cloned. I think it'd be the coolest thing in the world to get the dog cloned. But
I'm going to tell you something.
It takes something. Like, you've got to get to a place mentally. You've got to get to a place mentally.
In about 30 years, it's going to be like the Terminator here. Skynet is going to be, AI is going to take over. We're going to have cloned dogs. Now, the only thing I can think is maybe they can clone me, because I would like to stay around for longer. I feel like I got more to give. So, if we can put me in the cryogenic like Walt Disney and Ted Williams. Just freeze me for about 100 years. I come back, I'll still be good.
I don't know, man. It's kind of it's kind of crazy though. I saw this story this week, and I don't know why you were the first person I thought of, and I said I'm not going to talk about this story all week because I just want to see the look on Robert Littal's face when I talk about cloning dogs.
Some people have too much money. Instead of
he's an investor in the. Apparently, he's an investor in the company.
Just go to the shelter, man. Just go save, Goofy or whatever. Let's save somebody. Don't be. That's an experiment. Let's be honest with you. I mean, that's like Planet of the Apes type of stuff. What if that dog starts talking? Like Scooby-Doo and stuff. I mean, they doing some weird stuff. There's some weird stuff going on here, man.
The dog starts talking. It's like those AI videos I see on TikTok now where the dogs are talking to each other. What did you make? And I know you wrote about it on your X feed about ESPN bet going under and whatnot. Which is not a shock. Anybody who saw this from afar knew this was a Hail Mary, both from ESPN and Penn Gaming, that they were trying to salvage, and it didn't work out, so they cut their losses after 2 years. What did you make of it?
My first thought was no Molly money lines. Those commercials are so funny to me. ESPN having a bet is odd in the first place, to be perfectly honest with you. But then again, the NFL owns some of ESPN too. I think we're past the part where ESPN is somewhere like a network that you actually get news from. You get a little breaking news every once in a while, but I think if you want, I don't think people take them seriously anymore. It's like MTV, now of sports. So I'm not surprised, but once again, they were talking about a gambling scandal, but was having ads running, from ESPN Bet. So it's like everything is wrestling right now, in my opinion. I don't take anything too seriously.
If you want real news, you go to The Athletic or Pablo Torre.
Right. If you want a little, and here's the thing, go local. What I've learned is that the local guys, the beat writers and the girls, the beat writers, the YouTube, it's the podcast locally. If you care about a team, go to them, because that's where you'll get your real, news on what's going on.
Jaylen Brown's dyed hairline. What on earth? Like, what are these NBA guys? Is this a thing? Like,
well, is it a thing? Remember Carlos Boozer?
But I don't ask this. I don't want anybody to get bent out of shape. Is it a black person thing? Like,
well, is it a version of a? I mean, white people have hair pieces. wigs, like George
Not
Costanza.
Not me.
Remember, Elaine was like, he's like, I used to be bald.
I remember.
Oh, you are bald.
You
got a
are
wig on.
bald.
Yeah, so it's a black person version of that, and the barber now, like the celebrity barbers, they like to spray. So when I tell you a quick story.
Okay.
When I first came to LA, I couldn't find a barber.
Okay.
Because, you have your barber. I was in St. Louis. I had my barber for like 10 years. So I looked around and they said, hey, go to this barber shop. So I went to this barber shop. A lot of brothers there and everything. So everything was cool. The guy put me, he said, I'm going to give you the special because it's your first time. And he put me in, he cut my hair, and he took some stuff out and he sprayed it on. And I swear I looked like all of those boozers. I looked like Jaylen Brown. And the stuff was, and it was hot. It was the summertime when I was there. And I went outside and I tried to go, and it was dripping, and now I looked ridiculous. But so it is a thing that you can definitely ask for. LeBron has done it. It's just whatever they're using on Jaylen Brown's hair is not working. He needs to go to a different place that's a little more adhesive.
That's great. In the final minute, the Lakers have won 5 in a row. When Luka's on the floor, he's just been unstoppable. This team still doesn't have LeBron back. It's playing without Austin Reeves right now, who's dealing with an injury. Should we start taking the Lakers for real in the West?
If they trade LeBron. It doesn't work. Like, you can see it from a distance right now. It works, and it's not because LeBron can't play anymore. It's not that. It's just is LeBron, when you have certain players that are at that level, and they just can't be a number 3. Oh, you have doggies. Oh, you can't be a number 3. Come here, Marcus. Come here. Come on. You want to get on TV? Come on.
If you knew what it took to rope this guy into the segment, whew.
I'll stop it.
This is Dookie. For everybody, you are making his nationally syndicated TV debut. Oh, my goodness. Yours is so cute.
Hey, Marcus, the handsome is the dog.
You
He
good
likes
boy.
the camera. Oh, my God.
Who's a good boy?
There you go. Don't kiss him. There you go. Kiss him. There you go. There you go.
See,
He likes
dogs
it.
on Friday. There's nothing in this world can make people happier than dogs. Oh, look at that.
Right.
Robert
Okay.
Littal, the founder of Black Sports Online.
All right.
Hey, have a great weekend, and with that dog, you certainly will.
All right. Say bye, Marcus. That's Marcus Mariota right here.
We're coming. Welcome back to the show. We'll wrap it up with Paige versus the Prince in 10 minutes. Something happened last week in Paige versus the Prince. Something very rare took place last week. And we'll tell you about that coming up in 10 minutes. Some great games on the schedule this weekend, and we'll get into a few of those, see what Sam has to say. He's having a pretty good season in our picks segment. Me, pretty mediocre, quite honestly. Not really proud of what I've done in that regard. All right, let's talk some baseball here before we get to Paige versus the Prince. And we talked about Don Mattingly yesterday on the show. Little did we know that literally right after we finished talking to David Aardsma, former big league reliever, former closer who hangs out with us on Thursdays, little did we know that Don Mattingly would walk away from the Toronto Blue Jays, parting ways with that organization after serving as bench coach for John Schneider. And I mean, you sort of look at, where his career is right now, and you match it up with the jobs that are open around baseball. In this case now, the job that is open. Because right after Mattingly made that decision, the Padres, and maybe he was angling for that job. I don't know. Probably not, because he had to have kind of known where things were in the interview process. But Don Mattingly, who's up for the Hall of Fame on the contemporary era ballot, now only has one option if he wants to be a manager in Major League Baseball next year. And it's the one option that I don't think anybody's going to run for, especially somebody of Don Mattingly's gravitas, unless you had guarantees and assurances that organization is going to do things differently, that maybe you have a philosophy that they're willing to adhere to in how to make that thing a winning organization. Because right now, and I talked about this with our friend Nick Ferguson in a conversation we had off air that was recorded, and we may play it at a later date, where we were talking about the Colorado Rockies. And that's a franchise that's become content with selling tickets, not based on how good their team is, but selling tickets based on how good other teams are that they're playing against. Don't come and watch us. Come see our beautiful ballpark, Coors Field, and come see Shohei Ohtani. Come see Mike Trout. Come see Aaron Judge. Come see Ronald Acuna Jr. Mookie Betts. Pick your stars. Fernando Tatis. And again, in the AL West, there's a lot of talent out there, so you're going to get to see those teams plenty. And there have been franchises throughout the history of sports who have done this. When the Whalers were at their worst in Hartford, I know this from experience, they would sell tickets based on, come see Mario Lemieux. Come see Wayne Gretzky. Come see Mark Messier. Come see Luc Robitaille. Come see, Chris Chelios. Name your NHL star. Come see them play against the Hartford Whalers. The Brooklyn Nets, formerly the New Jersey Nets, used to do something very similar. Don't come watch us. We suck. But, man, you could come see Michael Jordan. You could come see Karl Malone. You could come see Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, Patrick Ewing, Reggie Miller, Alonzo Mourning, Larry Johnson. Come watch the stars of the NBA play against the Nets. And that's what the Colorado Rockies have chosen to do. And unless there is a huge change in the philosophy of that organization, unless there's a huge change in the shift and the mindset, I don't know why Don Mattingly would want to take that job. I don't know why Don Mattingly would want to sully his reputation and attach it to an organization that doesn't have an interest in winning, but just has an interest in, padding their wallets. And it's not as if they don't spend any money. They're usually middle of the league in terms of payroll. They just don't know how to spend it. So the news that the organization has made the decision to hire Paul D. Podesta to run their baseball operations department is an interesting one. Maybe it's an encouraging one. Anything would be encouraging after 119 losses. But we're talking about a football guy where he spent the past 10 years, basically, as their chief strategy officer. And look, he was a big part of all the Moneyball stuff and just a bizarre situation. I don't know what the Rockies are doing. Maybe they throw the bag at Mattingly, and perhaps they could start to get this thing going in the right direction. They have a couple of pieces there. Ezekiel Tovar is a nice player. Get him healthy, get him back on the field in 2026. He certainly had a great rookie campaign last year. He was banged up. And then there was the move out of San Diego with regard to the Padres, where they hire Craig Stammen to be their new manager. And former reliever. He was a part of the front office. And it's funny, for an organization that's had success winning games on the field, obviously no World Series. They play in the AL West to the Dodgers. They're always going to be the redheaded stepchild out there in that division, as long as the Dodgers continue to operate the way they do. But this is their fifth manager in 8 years. It's hard to create a culture of winning when you've had 5 managers now in 8 years. Maybe Craig Stammen is the guy that sticks. We'll have to see. Certainly a lot younger. See how he pans out. They interviewed a ton of guys, and they went with Stammen. We're coming back with Page versus the Prince. We'll wrap up the show next. All right, just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Friday. Don't forget, SportsWrap weekends available on many of these same affiliates. If not, check your local listing for time and schedule. 30 minutes of everything we did on the show this week. Sports Wrap with Jason Page, the podcast. If you have not subscribed yet, make sure to do so. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast is available on all your favorite podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon. Anywhere you get a podcast, you can listen to this show Monday through Friday, 45 minutes, crystal clear audio, except when we're talking over each other and then it's not so crystal clear. Go and check it out. Good to listen to in the car, way to work, on the treadmill. The show works well as a podcast, I have to say. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel is the place to go for everything Sports Wrap. The show is there Monday through Friday. Pro tip, it's there before it's anywhere else, even on television. You can also catch Sports Wrap shorts. Took a little bit of a lighter load on that the last couple of days because it was I was putting up so many of them. So the last couple of days we did a couple less than we normally do. But Sports Wrap shorts, especially on the weekends, we are loaded up on our YouTube channel. Also on Instagram, Sports Wrap Jason Page. On TikTok, Sports Wrap Jason Page. Sports Wrap shorts are there as well. And without any further delay on this Friday edition of the show, one of my favorite things we do every week.
It's Friday, and that means it's time for the weekly face-off for sports betting bragging rights. It's Page versus the Prince on the Sports Wrap.
Cue up the band, Sam Yarnell. Thank you, Chad Erickson. So Sam Yarnell last week, 2-2. He is 22-14 for the year. I'm staring at the bag of shame in the corner of the studio. I went 0-4 for the first time this season. Now, if I put the bag on when I was 1-3, I probably should have the bag on when I go 0-4. I just can't bring myself to do it to myself again. I went 0-4 last week. I don't know. I mean, you could throw darts at a board and get a game right. I don't know how you go 0-4, but I managed to do it last week, Sam Yarnell. Take the lead here. Yeah, go ahead. What?
When you do it every week like us, you're bound to eventually. Once a season, you get a pass. If it happens again, we'll have to talk, but once a season, you get a pass.
Sam Yarnell, pick me 4 winners this weekend.
I'll try, Jason, but I don't know. Now that one of us touched the cheese of 0-4, maybe we're all going to get the cheese touch, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid said back in the day. All right, so I've got a system I like to play on this show. When they go overseas and play games in London, I play the Lunder, right? So now, this week, they're going overseas. They're playing the game in Germany. So obviously the system will say the same, right? Wrong. Give me the Germ over. Falcons, Colts, over 48.5. They get a rocket ship over there in Berlin. Next, I've got a theme for my next couple of bets. I'm going with the wake-up calls for second-year quarterbacks theme. Give me the Buccaneers minus 2.5 against the Patriots. It's time for Drake May to finally play a real football team and face a real football test. He's going to lose. They get blown out. I'll lay the 2.5 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the real MVP candidate, Baker Mayfield. Speaking of second-year quarterbacks learning a lesson or two this weekend, give me the Baltimore Ravens minus 4.5 in Minnesota taking on J.J. McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings. Listen, Lamar's won 2 MVPs. J.J. McCarthy won a national championship a few years ago and then sat out for a year plus. Give me the Ravens in this one. Lay whatever you gotta lay against them. Jaguars, Texans. I wonder what Sam's going to do in this spot with the Texans defense, who he won't stop talking about, and Davis Mills under center for Houston. You guessed right, folks. You couldn't make the number low enough. 37.5. Under. Give me the under in Jaguars, Texans. Falcons, Colts over. Jaguars, Texans under. Ravens minus 4.5. Buccaneers minus 2.5. I'll meet you at the window on Monday morning.
The elderly people who watch this show and live in the Northeast are going to appreciate this reference. When you get into your picks on Fridays, you become Crazy Eddie. And if you don't know who Crazy Eddie is, Sam, I challenge you today, go on YouTube, look up Crazy Eddie's Electronics Store. and you'll know what I'm talking about. His prices are insane. I have a very simple theme this week. Under. In the game in Berlin, which we're calling the Bunder, you like that? We'll go with the Bunder. Colts Falcons under 48.5. Texans and Jags, I'm with you, Sam. They can't go low enough in that game for me. 37.5 is the total. Give me the under. Jets and Browns. It's another one where you cannot set the total low enough. 37.5? Make it 27.5. You might still win. Dolphins and Bills. This one was a little tougher for me, but I like the under as well at 49.5. It's all the time I got, so that's what you're getting. My 4 picks for this week. Page versus the Prince, week 10 in the NFL. Any last words before we say goodbye?
I think I thought about the 3 picks that we didn't have. Actually, no, because we're head-to-head in one. I almost had every single one of your plays on my card. Gotta be a good sign.
It's going to do it for us. Thanks to Robert Littal. Thanks to you, Sam. We'll see you all back here on Monday. Enjoy the NFL this weekend. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.